Struggling with show rates from your cold called leads? So many agency owners focus on the reminders, automations, and just technical nonsense when that isn't the problem. The problem is the cold call itself. I'm Arin, and I was recently paid to do a deep dive consultation into why a company's show rate from their cold calling was so bad. We diagnosed exactly why this company's sales reps were failing at getting appointments booked by cold calling to show up. It wasn't the leads, it wasn't the market, it was a single broken step in their discovery process, and I want to share this live consultation with you. On the call, we fixed his script execution, the social contract his team was ignoring, and the one counterintuitive calendar trick that actually increased his shows. So if you're cold calling to booking appointments and your calendar is full of ghosts, watch this call. To me, what's going on?
Yeah, so basically we're doing cold calling as our only form of outreach, as our only sales funnel.
Yep.
And up until about October-ish, no, November-ish, I was doing all of it. We've brought in teams on and off, but we moved to like a westernized team, so like British and US folk, our team about November. And essentially with that, my show up rate, like I've got the metrics, I've made a little document for us to kind of have everything consolidated in one place.
Perfect.
Essentially where I left off calling, I was about 50 to 52% show up rate. I was pretty happy with that. I thought, okay, that's KPI. Cold calling is never the best show up rate. And I've kind of reverse engineered off those metrics and it was completely fine.
Yep.
Anyway, brought on the team members and it was just a struggle. November, December, all of this month, we've just been like fighting between like that 30-40% show up rate.
Okay.
To my knowledge, nothing's changed. Obviously, the human element has changed with the different people using it and doing it.
You got new setters, right? There's gonna be some sort of skill gap probably, but yeah.
Got some new setters. I mean, their ABRs aren't out of whack. Like I listened to their calls. A big issue I feel like we did have with one of our callers. He's an excellent objection handler, and he was using rebuttals that I gave him, but he would like fight tooth and nail for these calls. So people would I'd listen to these calls, they'd book in, and like you could tell they weren't going to turn up. So we kind of nipped that in the bud, best to our ability. Then another thing I've kind of picked up on listening to calls is I feel as though because they were both competing for a certain amount of slots on my calendar doing the full-time sales, they would almost kind of what left was available. They would kind of forcefully funnel these times to make it work, even though like the prospect wasn't necessarily like committing to that time, or it wasn't their time that they chose. So again, I kind of came back again with some more implementations, again with confirming calendar invites, so it obviously appears on their calendar. I've been giving them tips to that, giving them improvements, giving them pointers to try and bump this up, but still it's just like relentlessly lower than I'd like it to be, essentially.
Cool. Awesome. So let's first of all dive into your individual setters show rates. Is that cool?
Yes.
So your shot rate is 26%. Okay. December 40%. And how many calls is this based on?
If you scroll down, it'll say on the total bottom.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. So booked 44, 40%. Okay. And then here we had booked 68, 24%. Okay. And then January, 30% so far. Okay. Was there any major differences between November and December?
November, when I kind of gave him like an hour feedback video. I listened to so many of his no-show calls, and that was when like he would like relentlessly objection handle, where personally I would have just dropped the call at that point because it wasn't worth it.
Okay, I understand. So what was his booking rate on November?
5, like that is high.
5%, and then December it was where are you seeing booking rate? Sorry.
If you scroll up again, so you 5, and then here you've got 2.82 ABR.
Okay. Well, because this is the first interesting thing, right? We need to look at the throughput of everything, right? Obviously, there's a downside because if your setters are booking appointments into your calendar and it's wasting your time, then that's obviously a downside to all this, right? But ultimately, what was his? Well, I'll call it. So when we're talking about like local business, we call it total leads in the door, right? So let's assume, so when I say total leads in the door, I mean the percentage of people that showed up compared to the number of leads, right? Have you got that statistic anywhere? We can work it out, right? So
you mean as in like from like the total dials to the people who totally
so we had so obviously at the moment your booking rate is the number of booked appointments over the number of calls, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what was the show up over number of calls for November? Okay, so 1.31% of people showed up out the calls made. That's interesting. Okay, let's do the same thing again for this. So 1.06%. Okay, that's not too crazy different. It obviously is in terms of actually looking at the number, it's quite a big difference. But when you look at it like 1.3, 1.0, it's not a huge difference. But essentially, he was able to get more shows in November. But your problem, obviously, it's blocking your calendar from like you're getting a lot of no-shows on your calendar, which isn't good, right? Because ultimately, he actually performed better in November, right? Even though he squeezed them extra appointments out, it actually worked because of that reason. Do you, with your calendar, and obviously we'll talk about the actual cold calling no show, like how we can improve that, but I just want to kind of cover all bases, you know?
Yeah.
With your calendar set up at the moment, how long's how long's a slot on your calendar?
On the actual calendar. So like can you see the screen?
Yep, yep.
The
So
color
half an
coding
hour
is like,
slots.
yeah. So it's like it is an hour call, but like for the calendar, for the sake of
Mhm.
them perceiving the call and that they're busy people, they don't want to have like a whole hour block
Yep,
on their
yep, that's
calendar.
fine.
I just do it as a half-hour slot.
That's fine. Cool. Why is it you haven't got any back-to-back slot? Like, is it possible for someone to book at 1, then 1:30, then 2, then 2:30, or is it just on the hour?
It's just on the hour because the call necessarily takes an hour. Like today, to be fair,
Okay, I
there's been a
understand.
bit of a
I
cock
understand.
up here. Like
Yeah.
this one ideally now needs moving though,
Yeah, I
unfortunately.
understand. So because you book it for half an hour, so it makes them more encouraged to show up. 'Cause I think it's only half an hour, but actually when they get on, I get it.
Yeah.
Perfect. Do you have a ghost calendar set up?
No, I did see your video on that. I did think it was an excellent idea.
Okay, so I would definitely I would actually get the guy to do what he was doing before, like squeeze the
Just
appointments
go
out.
fucking ham.
And
Yeah.
then when you listen to the calls that are booked in, if you feel like one call isn't going to show because they've been really squeezed in, they shouldn't have been squeezed in, then you can always open up the ghost calendar. And that way
Okay.
then and then you do the whole process where you text them, hey, sorry, it's been a technical issue. Can you obviously it's going to be unlikely they're both going to show up if
Yeah.
do you know what I'm saying? Like there's a
Yeah, no,
chance.
I did see your video. So essentially, you kind of vet out personally which one do you think's more likely to show, sit in that call. Obviously, if both show up, you just say something came up. Obviously, don't no show that person the next time.
Yeah.
Take the call that has shown up.
That's exactly it. And you have the automations go high level already. You have a point where it's like all you got to do is add a tag, right? Or just drag them to like, I don't know, you just do whatever you want to do. And then the automation sends out the text, sends out the reschedule, sends out the email,
Yeah.
does it all
Yeah. So I'm not
automatically.
like texting, keeping the other
Yeah,
guy.
yeah, because you don't want to be exactly, it's got to be quick. It's got to be really quick. Otherwise, it's not going to work. Because the guy you're actually on the call with is going to be sitting there waiting, like, what the hell's going on? It's going to be this messy situation. Okay, so I would definitely look into that. I think that'll, because like I said, you actually got a 1.3% shows per call, and the next month you got 1%. So you actually perform better, even like actual show up. So you actually got more
Yeah.
opportunities to sell, which is great.
I imagine the numbers work out like that really just because like he's booking more. So like by having more on the calendar, you just are gonna have more likely a chance of people
Yeah,
showing.
of course. Yeah, exactly that. Well, you actually, and when you, I know I was just saying a second ago, it doesn't seem like a big difference, but if you really think about it, like you got 30% more show ups, right?
Yeah.
Because your one versus 1.3 is 30%, right? 30% of one's 0.3, and that's what you. So you actually increase your shot by 30%. So
just so
yeah.
I'm understand that because I've got this master sheet, so this is like both of them formatted together.
Yeah, let's actually look at your script. I'm curious to know what that looks like.
Yeah, it's nothing like special. It does the job. It does the job. It's done the job for a long time. So this is it. And so I've got the rebuttals here. So like they were always using my rebuttals. But like that's what I would say. He would battle a lot harder than I would for these calls because I would just kind of call it quits. But this is the script essentially.
Okay, cool. Well, the thing is, like, I don't think. Again, we're looking at sharp rates, so we don't like. I'm assuming that your opening art is good. That's all working. I'm assuming them stats are all in line. It's more just like the sharp rate of the cold calls itself, right? Yeah, this is crazy. Okay, scroll down. Okay. You're not building are you building any pain at all with these guys?
There's some qualifying questions, but they're not always like held to it, like in the sense of like if somebody's in a rush or like some of the times like people will go like, we can talk about it on the call. Or, for example, let me show you the actual.
Yeah, please.
The question is just two questions, and like I don't really drop the hammer on the sense of like ask it by all means, always 100% ask it. But like if somebody isn't like totally 100% jumping on giving you the answers, like just book the call essentially. So in your answer, no, I guess. So you got what's your goal? What's your GCI goal, commission goal, production goal, whatever you want to do?
Yeah.
It's currently your biggest bottleneck. So I will notice there are calls
Okay.
people say, not much, nothing, or I just always want to close more deals or blah 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 blah.
Yep. Okay. Oh, so decision maker. Okay, fine. So go back to the script quickly. Okay, this is what I'd be doing. So scroll up a little bit. Okay, so you go through all this. It's something you'd be interested in a bit more, maybe. Okay. So that opener, again, I'm not going to go through the opener because like if that's working, then great, right? Really what you want to be doing on that cold call, it's still a sales call, right? It's like a mini sales call. And you want to essentially start the sales process at this point. So you need to be going for at least a little bit of discovery, right? Because at the moment, how people are going to feel about this is that you've phoned them up, you have no idea if they're actually a good fit for what you do, right? And so people won't try and think of an analogy for this. When people feel like you've actually understood their situation and then you're like, this is going to be a great fit, they believe you. Because they're like, oh, it makes sense. This guy's actually asked me a bunch of questions. he's now he knows more about my situation and he's still advising me to do this thing. Okay, that makes more sense. If you just phone someone up, if I just phoned you up randomly, Tom, and I was like, didn't ask you any questions about anything to do with your life, and I was like, oh my God, this product's gonna be amazing for you. You'd be like, how would you know it's gonna be amazing for me? Like, what do you mean it's gonna be like? You don't even know me. Like, how can you advise me on if this thing's gonna work or whatever else, right? And so it's the same thing here. So it's like I would even treat it a bit more of like a, hey, I basically want to ask you questions to understand if this is even a good fit for you right now. So like that whole thing you just said is great, but then I'd end it with, do you mind if I ask you just some really quick questions just to make sure that I'm confident this is even going to help you or something like that, right? And they're like, yeah. And if they're kind of sold in it already, with the opener, they should be, right? Then it's like, okay, great. And they'll say, yeah, sounds good, whatever. So then I'll be asking things like, okay, so what are you trying to get? What's your goal? What's the that GCI thing you said, right? What are you trying to get to? And they'll say, I don't know, I want to get to 100. Give me like $100,000 a month. Is that like a
yeah, probably about 100 to 200K a year in GCI for a lot of these guys.
So let's say they say 200K a year. So it's like, cool, awesome. Why do you think you're not there yet? What's stopping you from getting there? Oh, well, because you're with realtors, right? So it's like
it'll be just like, I'm just the market is a big thing, interest rates, it's just my sphere of influence. I don't do any marketing, or leads are all crap, or they're all sitting on the fence. Tons of reasons.
Okay, cool. Because what and again, I'm not saying this just to sell them. I'm actually, and this is the key thing, I'm actually trying to figure out if I can actually solve their problem. That's like the most important thing. I actually care about the lead and actually understand. Like the analogy I always use is like, if your mum was a realtor in the US, right? And like before she signed up for your service, you would genuinely ask these questions because you wouldn't want to sign your mum up to something that's not going to work for her, right? So you'd actually be like, what's going on, right? So, okay, why do you think you're not getting there? Oh, if they say like the market's bad or something, then you need to do a bit of, you need to like sell them on why that's not the reason, right?
Yeah, it's just like you can offset the market. Like the big thing about all these guys is they're not doing the simplest thing of what we do, which is outbound prospecting for them.
Exactly. So then you could ask them, right? If they say, oh, it's the market, then you can say, okay, that's fair enough. So if you had, let's say, I don't know, 50 more leads, and then you can throw it in there. You can be like, yeah, normally on average we get our clients an additional 50 leads, qualified leads a month, right? If we had 50 additional leads, do you think that the market being bad, like you wouldn't get any extra sales out of them? Or what do you think would happen? Oh, well, no, if I had 50 extra qualified leads, yeah, like, okay, so it's not a market problem then. So what other issues do you think it could be? And basically what I'm trying to lead them down is, okay, it's a leads issue. It's not a market issue. So you need to like battle. If they give you, because some of them might say to you, I get all of my leads through referrals for attorneys and I just don't have enough partnerships with them. I just don't get enough leads. I don't get enough qualified leads. They say that, then it's easy. It's like, okay, great. Well, we help solve that. You can ask more questions, right? And then you can ask, okay, so if you had more leads, let's say you had like, how many more leads do you think you'd need to be able to get to that 200K mark? Oh, I'd probably need like another 50 leads a month. It's like, okay, great. Well, just so you're aware, like on average, we get our leads. We get our clients 50 qualified leads a month, right? Yeah. Blah, blah, blah. But if they say anything else, then you've got to like make them understand. If they say, oh, the interest rates, it's like, okay, so and then you can do that same thing again. Okay, so if we gave you 50 leads today because of the interest rate, would you close, like, do you think you wouldn't close any of them? No, I'd close some of them. Okay, so it's not just interest rates. Fair? Yeah, that's fair. Okay, great. Blah, 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 right? You need to like get them convinced on it.
Yeah.
And then you need to go into like, so you want to kind of build up the heaven scenario, right? It's like okay, so imagine I get you 50 new leads, how many more deals do you reckon you'd get? Okay, well, I'll probably close 3 of them. Okay, so if we close 3 of them leads, times that over blah, 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 blah. Okay, so you'd get to the 200K a month if we just got you 50 leads based on your current numbers, right? Yeah. Okay, great. If you didn't get them 50 leads, what do you plan to do to be able to like get them 50 leads? Like what marketing are you doing? Talk to me about that. Yeah. Oh, the market, I'm not really doing anything right now. I'm doing this or whatever they give you, right? Then it's like, okay, so if you didn't get 50 leads, are we saying that you'd be stuck at the 50K per year GCI? And like you want them to admit, yes, I will be stuck at this point. And all of this stuff is, first of all, just showing them like how much you care because you're actually willing to ask these questions and kind of go deep with them. But also it exposes this massive pain. And I'm sure you've heard these analogies before, but it's like the whole doctor frame, right? It's like you go to the doctor and maybe you're not in pain at all, right? But they do an x-ray and they say that you've got a lump, right? And if the doctor's bad at sales, the doctor might be like, yeah, we've got a lump, you should really fix it, right? But then what the sales guy should be asking is like diving into that and making sure they understand how fucking serious that is. And because most people, people have these goals and these aims. I'm going to get to 200 grand a month. I'm going to get to 500 grand a month. It's like, okay, how? Well, like, what are you actually got? Because everyone just like says these things, even including myself. We say these things to ourselves to make ourselves feel better in the existing moment right now. Oh, definitely gets 500K a month by next year. It's like, okay, but unless someone actually like fucking brings that pain up and actually says how, like, what are you actually doing? How logically, what are you going to do? How are you going to? Then it makes it they're like, fuck, that Tom guy was actually right, and then they're way more likely to actually show up to the call. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense. And you're selling the call just as much as you are the product at the
That's
end of the day.
exactly it. You're selling them on attending the nothing else. You don't have to worry about selling them like the actual service, but on that cold call, you need to sell them on attending that next call. That's like the whole thing, right?
You don't have a reason to show, they're not going to show. And it's
Yeah,
another thing just about competition volume. Like these guys, whether it's from me, insurance agents, mortgage lenders, or people who've given loans, they are probably, everyone can probably say this about each to their own niche, right? But they argue that they are probably the most sold to people in the US. And like arguably so, they probably are up there. And like it's again, it comes in the fact of like we don't have a brand, it's not inbound. Like until they turn up and know what we do, we are nothing but another voice on the phone. They've
exactly.
turned up to
There's nothing there, right? And so there's there's actually three things you need to be able to do. Which is while we're talking about scripts and stuff, I just want to kind of rant on this. The first thing is that they need to be sold. They need to believe that you actually. First of all, okay, let me go one step back. They need to believe they have a problem, right? The beautiful thing about running ads is that if someone opts into your ad, they already know they have a problem. That's why they opted in. So you've already gone through the first barrier. That's why everyone runs ads. It's easier, right? Cold calling, that you need to convince them they have a problem, right? And that's what the whole thing I'm saying is like, oh, so if you solve the interest rate, if you solve the leads, like right, convince them they have a problem. Then they need to be convinced that you have the solution to that problem. Again, asking these questions and throwing it all in like that will help convince that. Then they actually need to trust you, right? Because you might convince them they have a problem. You might convince them you have the solution, but they also need to trust that you have it all together and that you actually have the solution, right? If I phoned you up and I was like, hey, I guess it's just the first two actually. It's like convince that you have convince they have a problem, convince you have the solution. Because if I phoned you up and said, "Hey Tom, I've got a cure for fucking I don't know some random disease," right? Like most people won't believe you. They'll be like, "Oh, right." They need to be convinced you're actually going to help them.
Yeah.
And the other thing as well is like tonality is so important with this, right? So if you're going through this whole process with them and they give you answers like, yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah, I guess if I had more leads, it would. Yeah, I guess it would work, right? That's not good enough because like their tonality is saying, "I'm kind of just agreeing with you for the sake of it. I don't actually believe this thing, right?" And so if someone gives you that kind of answer, and this is a whole like once you start doing this, once you start hearing the recordings, we can discuss again another time if we need to. But if someone's giving them kind of answers, you need to train your guys to call that out. So if someone said to me, "Oh, yeah, probably," I'll be like, "Probably." Like, you don't think more leads would actually help you? Oh no, and then they'll give that. You want to? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. There's acceptable and unacceptable answers to every question.
Exactly. So just because of the words they're saying doesn't mean that's true. They need to actually, but like you need to hear it in their tone of voice, and you need to keep beating them until they actually agree with you. And also, they're like, don't be afraid to pull away. If someone's like giving you these kind of shit answers, don't be afraid to be like, look, like if you don't believe this is going to be a good fit for you, I don't want to waste your time. Like, let's just save each other's time right now. And a lot of people, when you say that, if they actually do have a little bit of belief, they'll be like, no, I do believe, and then they'll start qualifying themselves to you. And then again, they're more likely to show up. Okay, so it might be worth having a quick listen to. I want to go through like your reminder process and all that kind of stuff as well. But I think if we could just listen to one of your calls really quickly, that'd be good.
One of my calls or one of the team's calls?
Whoever's.
Okay.
Probably, let's say one of the teams because you're not scalable, but your team are scalable.
Okay. I do think as well, because you're making a good point, and obviously I haven't particularly done that in the past myself, like written, but like when I was doing these calls, ultimately I'm like the founder, right? I've built the product, I know the market very well, I like to think. So like it comes off in my voice and when I'm talking and when I can freestyle on these calls, especially when I'm answering their questions, probably do believe that like they can perceive like a level of expertise to like, okay, this guy like
you will always do better on the calls than your reps because of that reason, because you're
exactly. So like it's that as well. Like ultimately, and it's not a fault of the callers or the team or anyone who's like hired, but you're following an SOP at the end of the day. And like until you're an expert and done it, the volume that us as founders have going to be different, right?
Yeah.
Want to listen to like a shown call or a no-show call, or does it not matter?
I don't care. They should be the same, right?
It's just a random one. So this guy actually came on as a client.
Good.
So listen to this one.
So okay. First of all, 5 minutes, way too short. Your calls need to be way longer than that. If you're actually doing what I just said, like, because 5 minutes, 2 minutes of that is going to be booking the appointment. And so there's 3 minutes of like, what the hell did you even like? Let's listen to it anyway. Yeah. Oh, I can't. Oh, I can hear it. Yeah.
Hey, Sean. I'm glad I caught you. My name's Vince. We haven't spoken before, but do you have a second? Yeah.
Okay, quickly pause it.
We're good.
Is that guy's mic, is it just go high level, or is that guy's mic actually quite bad quality?
It probably might just be his laptop. Like I'm talking to my laptop now. It's probably just that.
Okay, I'll maybe just do a quick test of him, like at some point, just get him to call you in go high level and just hear how it sounds and make sure it sounds good. Because to me, it sounds really muffled and a bit hard to hear. Just a side note. Go on.
No worries.
Teams and brokerages throughout the state. We specialize in converting you pre-qualified buyers and ready-to-go sellers. Now, Sean, we do this on a completely pay-on-results basis. We don't get paid unless you actually close more deals. Something we do differently, we pre-qualify and nurture every single one of them for you. So as well as being able to focus on closing even more, our clients generate an additional 1 to 3 transactions a month. Hey, Sean, is this something you're against learning a bit more about? See how we actually do it, and if we could do it for you, maybe sometime tomorrow? Yeah. Okay, what time would work best for you tomorrow?
Yeah, so pause it quickly. So now at this point is where they're like, I'm assuming there might be some objections in there which you can listen to, but like
if the objections were there, they probably would have come up at this point. I imagine the rest of this call is probably
just booking the appointment, right?
Appointment.
Yeah,
Let me see if he answered those questions, because if so, fuck it. No, we'll forget it. Move on, yeah.
So it's like you get the guy's attention, which is good, but then you're kind of, again, I don't want to go too deep into the actual like the openers and stuff, but like he's just like blurting stuff at him, right? Yeah. I feel like there could have been. I would want to engage him much faster. Like I would want to. You can say. I think the first bit, like, "Hey, Sean, you got a second?" I kind of like that. It's kind of a bit like mysterious. Like, okay, yeah, who's this? That kind of thing. And it's like, yeah, I saw you've got a real estate agency, and you could even just like. I'm just trying to think of a way that we can like ask a question. We're just going to get them engaged instantly, rather than just trying to blurt like a whole monologue at them for like a minute. You know, I probably haven't got the answer for you right now, but like. I'll tell you what, actually, right now, don't mess about with that. Like, if it's working for you, and we're only worried about show, like, let's change one thing at a time. Let's not go.
Yeah, we've done the whole like. I've tried so many different scripts, and this is like an old script, and I've tried different things when we had different issues. When I really thought it was like a script issue, but it never was. It was a whole different issue. It was pickup rate. But we've done like the whole question answer and people like kind of, whether it's true or not, and it's probably not, they kind of shut down the questions of like, oh no, I don't have a problem, I'm good, da 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 da. I've always found, for like whatever reason, let's just straight pitch at them. Like
cool. If that works, stick to it. Yeah, don't change too much at once anyway. You want to make sure we all know what's actually working and what's not. Okay, that's fine. So I like his tonality, by the way. I think he sounds like, he doesn't sound bored or anything. He sounds like engaged, which is obviously really important. Like tonality is like one of the most important things. Okay, that's cool. Okay, fine. So I think scripting, there's like, I would need to carry out what I said about the script, and then you can just like WhatsApp me or whatever, and we can, you have to book another call. Like I can give you a bit of advice here and there. And so, okay, that's fine. Let's go through like your reminder sequences and stuff.
Yeah. So,
because you're using Calendly, I saw, right?
Yeah. So I've got Calendly. I've got a couple of things that I'll show you now. So there's Calendly, and then I've got a Go High Level workflow, and I think you're probably gonna have some peaked interest in the Go High Level workflow, and you'll probably tell me that because I've watched a couple of like a video based on it.
Before we go into that, can I quickly see your can you just open up your can you show me open up the link where someone books a call with you quickly, please?
Yeah, so it's the caller who does this on their end.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so you're booking 3 days out, perfect. Oh, I'm assuming that your team are trying to book them in as soon as possible, right?
Yeah, tomorrow, really. Obviously, if I've got an available slot, do it like same day. But
yeah.
So like tomorrow, if not tomorrow, the next day, and then anything after that, I just mark it as a callback. Don't actually put it on the calendar.
Yeah, perfect. I agree with that. Because something you've touched upon earlier, which is really interesting, is that because your calendar gets full, they're trying to squeeze people into appointments that maybe aren't suitable for them. And obviously, you said you watched some on my YouTube. Have you seen the video about like why calendar availability is so important, that kind of stuff?
Do you want to reiterate that? I've
not. Yeah. I can talk you through it again. So basically, client availability is like the biggest indicator of show rate, just across in general across everything, right? The reason for that is that when someone, I can actually do a quick screen share. Let me get my my whiteboard thing up. Hold on. See my screen?
Yes.
When you book someone in for a call, essentially what you've got, so you got motivation and you got time. If you do that first, that's cold call really well, right? You would have piqued their motivation. They could be like, if they're like a perfect fit and you've done everything right, at that point they're like, you know what? This guy spoke so much sense. By the way, this is the same for ads. This is the same for anything, right? When someone first books that call in, they are very highly motivated. They're like, I'm definitely going to show up. I'm really keen to fix this. I want to fix the problem, whatever it is, right? But what happens is over time, sorry, not over time. Let me get rid of this. This is what is time? It's kind of time combined with availability. Basically, what's going to happen is over time, this motivation is going to drop off, right? And so first of all, that's the reason why to put people in as soon as possible. Don't put further than 3 days out, because if you do that, right, and you, let's say 3 days is here, right? If you go 4 days, 5 days, it's going to keep dropping down, and eventually it's gonna be terrible, right? There's a threshold between like motivation and action, right? So the action threshold might be here, okay? And by action threshold, I mean that's the amount of, I'll put a little ACT next to it, action. That is the amount of motivation needed to actually attend the appointment and essentially take action, right? Attend the appointment, okay? And so if you book really far out, obviously, like even 3 days, it could be too much, right? The motivation has to be higher than the action threshold for them to actually attend the appointment. With calendar availability, the way motivation works is it's kind of more like this, right? Let me get rid of this 3 here. And so this is essentially like different days of the week. So I'll put like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, right? And so, for example, on Wednesdays, right, this guy might be in a situation where he needs to pick his kids up from school, right? Because of whatever. And maybe in the morning he's got a PT lesson he goes to and he does training, whatever, right? So Wednesdays between the hours of 3 and 5, right, and between the hours of 9 and 10, he can never normally do because he's got his other things he's got to do, pick up his kids, go to PT, right? But your sales guy is like, I've only got 9 a.m. I've only got 3 p.m. available on Wednesday. I've only got 3 p.m. available. Let's do 3 p.m. And at the time, because the guy's motivation is so high, he genuinely believes he's going to show up for the appointment. He's like, yeah, I'm definitely going to come to the appointment. Like, it's going to be really good. I'm going to solve my whole business. I'm going to get higher commissions, whatever it is, right? But then let's say you book it 2 days later. At that point, his motivation has dropped. And maybe what he was expecting to do was get his mum. I'll ask my mum to pick the kids up from school that day. It'll be fine, right? But then by the time it rolls around, there's too much of like a barrier for him to actually attend the appointment, because he forgot to ask his mum, he forgot to tell the PT he's going to cancel that day, whatever it is, right? But if you gave him the slot of 11 a.m., right? 11 a.m., he's just sitting in his office doing nothing, right? So even if you book the appointment for Wednesday 11 a.m., his action threshold for 11 a.m. is so low because he's literally just sitting in his office bored. He's just like trying to find things to do. He's got nothing else to do, right? So the action threshold for him on a Wednesday at 11 a.m. is super low. But his action threshold for Wednesdays at let's say like 3 p.m. when he's picking the kids up from school is way higher because he has to overcome the obstacle of getting his mum to pick the kids up and all that kind of stuff, right? And so the more you can fit around people into these like slots where they're just doing nothing, they're bored all day. And to say, I'll use the gym analogy because the gym analogy is like, I've done a lot of work in that space. So it's like if you book someone in for 4 p.m, they've maybe got to leave work early, right? They've got to ask their boss. It's kind of annoying. It's a bit awkward, whatever, right? But if you book them in for 7 p.m, they're just sitting in front of the TV doing nothing anyway. So they're definitely going to show up to the gym because they're like, I've got nothing else to do anyway, right? Does this make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. So calendar availability, you need to make sure you have as many slots as you can available so you can put people in these little pockets of super low action threshold. So even if their motivation has dropped off, because it 100% will drop off, right? They will still attend because their motivation when they book the appointment is not going to be the same as when the appointment actually rolls around. So you need to make sure your motivation, and also you can do things to like kind of, like superficially increase the motivation, right? Maybe if you phoned them an hour before, or not an hour before, but let's say you phoned them 24 hours before and like you had another deep dive into their pain, like you can like pick their motivation back up again, right? So stuff like that you can do to really just. But anyways, what I'm trying to say is make sure you have as much calendar availability as possible so you can fit people in these little action threshold slots where it's much lower than a normal action threshold. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and the ghost calendar will help with that as well.
Yeah, ghost calendar will help with that because if you're blocked out at that perfect slot for them with some guy that probably isn't going to show, then you can use the ghost calendar and that will work really well. But yeah, cool. All right, awesome. So, sorry, share your screen again. Cool. So that's all fine. You're booking 3 days out. You've got lots of calendar availability. Awesome. Okay, great. So then someone actually books in an appointment. What happens?
So books in an appointment, we got these workflows. So immediately they're going to get an email. Let me know if you want me to open any of these up. That's to me.
Yeah, show me the email quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Where's my deal? Okay. Hey, for answer. Okay, fine. I won't lie. Jesus all made email with that in mind. Everyone accept the calendar sent over. You can schedule time. Oh, okay. First question is: are realtors familiar with Zoom?
Yeah, they should be. Like, can I give you a solid 100%? That's a good question. I never thought about it that way, but I'd like to think so. Yeah. I mean,
okay. What's your no-show process? If someone doesn't show, what happens?
We have a no-show workflow, and it's like so.
But I mean, none of the automations. Like, so let's say you've got a call at 4 p.m. with someone, right? 4 p.m. rolls around, you're in the Zoom, nothing's happening, right?
2 minutes after that allotted time, I'm calling them.
Okay.
2 minutes.
Double dialing them.
Double dial. And then yeah, if I don't get through, I leave a voicemail. I send them a text like, "Hey, I'm on the call. Does it still work for you?" They don't answer me. I call them and I basically give them like incremented calls. I don't blow them up to the point where it's like almost like restraining order, but like between like 2 minutes past the hour and 10 past the hour, they probably get 3 to 4 double dials off of me in
Okay,
that
cool.
space.
I would say that one thing that could work, so this is like a small tip, is rather than, because I don't know enough about the real estate niche, maybe these guys are out on the road a lot, like
They
driving
are
around
well,
and
they got
stuff.
listings, open
Okay,
houses, running around buyers, fires
yeah.
out, problems with their listing.
So with all that stuff, I would experiment with, rather than saying, "Hey, we're going to jump on Zoom," just be
Mhm.
like, "Hey, I'm going to call your number at this time." And because we did a thing before a few years ago, we had a HVAC client. Sorry, we had an agency who worked with HVAC installers. Her show rate was 20%. The only change she made, it's crazy. The only change she made was changing all the reminders and everything to say, "Hey, by the way," and even the guy himself, like when he was on the cold call, right? Be like, "Okay, great, I'll book you for 3 p.m. We're gonna phone your phone. We're going to call this number at 3 p.m. So please answer any calls that come through at that time, blah, blah, right? And all the reminders saying, hey, we're going to call you, we're going to call you, we're going to call you. Don't mention Zoom at all.
Mhm.
And we found their show rate went from 20% to 80% just because of that one change, which is kind of crazy, right? And the reason for that is because when you start mentioning Zoom, people read that email and they're kind of like, it's like,
Zoom, yeah.
it kind of gets a bit confused, like not confusing, but it's like an extra level of like, it's like a Zoom. Okay, yeah, I'll sort that. And then eventually maybe they try and download Zoom and it's not working. I know
Yeah,
you're
I've
calling
done
them
that.
as
Yeah.
well, which is important. But if you just said to them from the get go, hey, I'm going to phone this number, in their head it's like, cool, I'll just wait for a phone call. Like it's like they don't have to like, because a lot of people as well, if they're on the road and they know they can't attend the appointment, they might in their head just write off the appointment. Like, oh, I can't do Zoom, I'll just write it off. And then you're trying to call them, but they've already wrote it off in their head. They're already like, oh, okay, I'm not going to attend this appointment, so I'll ignore. But if you just told them from the get go, hey, we're going to call your number, then it's not like in their head, it's like, okay, it's still live, it's not written. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, it does. Question to that, like, let's say I get them on the phone, great. My pitch process, I do need to share my screen.
That's fine. Great question. So if that happens, so what I would do is I would phone them up, have a 5 minute build rapport with them, whatever, and then be like, oh yeah, by the way, like it might actually be a bit easier to do this on Zoom. Are you by your computer? If they're like, no, I'm not by my computer, well then
Two
we're
calls.
never going to join anyway. so
Yeah,
so
well,
so then in that situation, I would just read. I'm like, oh okay, that's fair. Sorry, it's completely on me. Like I should have said this on Zoom. When will you be by your computer next? I'll be by later today at 3. Okay, cool. What I'll do is I'll call you again at 3 and we can get you onto Zoom and I'd actually walk them through the whole process. Like, so I'd call them at 3 still, and I'd be like, great, you buy a computer now? Yeah, perfect, awesome. Okay, so I just sent you a link to your email. Click on that link. Yeah, has it got it through? Yeah, cool. Don't hang up the phone until they're on the Zoom, basically.
Yeah.
That's the way we like, and that works really, really well. Or you could add in there into your script once you book the appointment. You could get your cold caller to be like, oh, by the way, do you have you used Zoom before? Do you know what Zoom is? And if they're like, yes, it's like, great. And you can customize it depending on what you want. Or you can just say to them, hey, please make sure you're by a computer. But again, you don't want people writing off the call in their head because they're not by a computer and then not answering the phone. Because it's kind of awkward, right? Like if you tell someone, hey, please be by your computer, and they're like, yeah, I will be. And you phone and you're not by, it's like that awkward, like, oh, I've kind of let you down. I'm sorry, in a way. So yeah, that's just like a side note. It would make a difference, but it's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I mean, worst comes to absolute worst. You could just, I mean, do it on the 2 calls. You could do the entire discovery, which by doing the discovery,
Oh,
you
you'll build so much trust and
patient
rapport
turn
and
up to the next
exactly.
level anyway.
Exactly that.
It's just you want that then if you are going to do the pitch on a whole different Zoom, you just need that to be soon after because you can't then wait another 2 days, let all the
No,
motivation.
no, 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 no. But if you've built the rapport and you've done all that well, you should be able to get that booked in and it's your own calendar, right? You can figure it out. But like you should be able to get it, but that's like either same day or worst case next day. And then and like you can even explain to them just like, and what you got to remember as well is that when you phone them up, like if they're by a computer,
Yeah,
then
they likely might be.
then say to them, great, let's jump on Zoom right now and just get them on Zoom there and then. It doesn't have to be a two-call process. It's just if someone's in the car driving around, like, yeah, you need to, the phone calls will really help with that.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Anyway, so you got all this. Also, I really want to, okay, I'm looking forward to sharing how the product AI system has spent 3 years building will change your real estate business forever. This whole thing here, like, you're not really talking about the benefits. Like, with productive AI, agent AI, we guarantee your success in close it. It's so wishy-washy, right? It's kind of vague. Have you got any like testimonial? Have you got anything where it's like, I'm so excited to share the system with you that took James from a 26,000 GCI to a 124,000 CGI in less than, I don't know, what, like, have you got anything
Yeah,
like that?
we just had a client who's told us like in the space of 6-7 weeks he's on like 14 listings, which is
Okay, cool. So I'd love to talk through a system where James literally got 14 listings in the last 28 days of no use them whatever it is, right? Something like that. Because then that's like that's like tangible, not
Yeah.
we guarantee your success. It's like, what does that mean? Guarantee what? Did you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
I'm sure there have been many moments in your career where you've had that age old thought, I wish there were 10 of me. I could get so much done, close so many more deals. You wouldn't be wrong in thinking that if you're productive, you close. Okay, well, what's the actual thing? What's the actual service you're providing? Is it leads or what is it?
So if you just take it down to grassroots, we're booking their qualified appointments with them.
Okay, so how are you solving the I wish there were 10 of me situation? Like, how are you solving that?
Basically scaling their outbound prospecting. Let's say, for example, for argument's sake, for example, I'm doing all the cold calling, right? And if I wish there was 10 of me, which I fucking do because I wouldn't have to hire new people, I could do all the cold calling 10 times over, for example. I mean, we're not cold
Okay.
calling for people, but we've built an automated outbound prospecting system.
Okay. Yeah, I don't, for me, so I don't get that from this. I get that you're going to basically just make their current system more efficient rather than actually get them more opportunities. So maybe check, I don't know how, is it through, it's not just a point. It's nothing too crazy there, but like, I'd want to frame that as more of like how do they get deals at the moment? Because you're not doing you're doing ads for them, right?
No, it's not ads. It's primarily SMS.
Oh, okay. So even just like, I wish they were telling me, it could be, I wish I could 10 times my lead. I don't know what the terminology they use in real business,
I
but
kind of
like,
get what you're going for.
you get what I'm saying though, right?
So it is what it actually is instead
Yeah.
of random fugazi.
Yeah, exactly. Don't fall behind the AI revolution in real estate sales. Take it by storm and become a productive agent. Yeah, it's just there's something I've learned recently, even for my own ads. Like my own ads have been like, I'm not the best ads guy in the world or anything like that. Like, but I spoke to Charlie's CMO recently, and there's so many things where she just stops. She's like, "What does that mean?" Like, it needs to be so fucking simple that like when you read it, it just makes sense. Because I was saying things in my ads, like there was something the other day. It was like operational ownership, and she was like, "What does that mean?" I was like, "Yeah, you're right. What the fuck does that mean?" Like, it's not clear. Like, so when you say don't fall behind that AI revolution in real estate sales, take it by storm and become a productive agent. What does that mean? Productive agent? It's just not.
I thought I was like sick writing that because that's
Yeah. It looks great. Like AI wrote loads of my stuff, and I'm reading back through it now, and I'm like, that doesn't make sense. What does that mean?
Yeah.
So again, I'll just be linking it back to the actual result. That's what people care about. PS, we take on one agent per MLS. Reasons to be disclosed on call. If you cannot make the call, please just let us know. Reschedule. Every new productive agent sees. So I even because also productive agent, like they might not associate themselves with that name, and so I'd rather be like every new agent we agree to work with or something like that, like because then they can tie to that, like every new productive agent. I'm like, well, I'm not a productive agent. I don't know what does that mean. Sees a turnaround in results for our system in 48 weeks and receive tangible results. Yeah, so you're just like being again fugazi, right? So just like put more like specifics in here. But that's again, this is like their email though, so like they will read this, but like a lot of people just don't read their emails. What's the text that you send out?
So the high level workflow is working. So they initially get this one. So Arin, it's Tom. We just scheduled a call to walk you through our productive agent system, solely designed to scale your real estate business. To ensure our Zoom call is on your calendar, you must go into your emails and accept the calendar invite from our founder, Tom Beatty. If you haven't done this with me yet, it's crucial you take 1 minute to follow these instructions to confirm.
Oh, and a Loom link. Ugh. No one's clicking that.
No?
No,
Probably
because
not. I could literally check how many views this got. It's probably
yeah,
none.
I'm curious. I'm really curious. Have a look because it looks like they don't know what Loom is, so it just looks a little bit scammy. It looks a bit like, is that a virus? That's what everyone thinks, right? Is that a virus?
Actually, there's 57 views.
But how long you had it for?
What you said, December, early to mid December. So yeah.
So how many appointments have you had from?
So you could call it booked. Not well.
Like, 90%. So you got one in, was that like one in
third.
four? What, a third, one in three? So 1 in 3 people. It's better than I thought it would be, but it's still not great, right? Like you want to have that much, like, and also that's the other thing as well, right? Like you're giving them homework. And so if they see that text come up and they're just like, oh, that's too much. Like, again, clicking on a Loom link, having to find my calendar. It's like, again, they've wrote off a whole appointment now. They're like, oh, if I haven't done that, then it's like when people, again, using a gym analogy, right? It's like if you're training, going to the gym and you're trying to lose weight and you're in like a calorie deficit, right? And you're like supposed to have like 1,500 calories a day, right? A lot of people, they'll go over, like they'll eat a burger and they don't realize, and it takes them over to like, no, that's like 1,800 calories a day, and they go, oh fuck it, and they just eat, and they eat the whole house because it's like already one. It's like a straw house. It's like one bit
Yeah.
falls, the whole fucking thing collapses.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing here. Like there's one thing they don't do, and they're like, oh fuck it, I'll just leave that whole thing now. I can't bother anymore. You want to make it like really small. Like action steps are good, but like you want to make them so easy. Like even just here, I'd be like, even just like the reply why, right? Reply why if this is still good or whatever, right? Like it's just so easy. It's like, oh okay, reply why, done. Awesome. Also, this text is way too long. It's just like it's just like an essay. I would just have this like I'd have this, let's scroll up to the top. So I would just do their name's fine. It's their setter name. Yeah, I just spoke to them. That's fine. So I would just change to like excited to speak with you on whatever the date is, or actually, but I've just booked your appointment for blah blah. Excited to show you how our average agent increases their GCI by blah 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 in blah blah blah. Just do that. Like just like, super simple. Like don't give them all this fucking click this calendar invite, do this, do that. Like I'd be curious to know like the stats on if someone accepts the calendar invite. I know Charlie pushes that a lot about accepting
I
calendar
saw it a
invites.
lot. Like it, I've like again.
I don't really care about accepting the calendar invite. Like, I've never pushed on that ever, and my show rate's always been decent. Like I've never pushed on that. Again,
Well,
I'm
I
working with
found
agency owners, so maybe it's different. Like
Yeah, I don't know, because well, like Charlie put it in his video, right? And I tested it, if you don't accept the calendar invite or if it goes, because it will mark it as spam or an unknown sender when you first do it and you're not a recognized email, it doesn't appear on your calendar. Like it just doesn't. And I've seen when I went through I went through from October, like my October shows, because I was still cold calling and I had quite a lot of data. Every call that showed up, bar maybe one or two, had accepted or confirmed some form of confirmation, whether it was text, on the call, or on the calendar. And
okay,
when you go to the no-shows, there was there was obviously some people who had confirmed in one way or another who still didn't show, but there was much more no's present. Like they didn't confirm by phone, text, or on the calendar.
okay, cool. So I'm just biased because I've never done it and it's always worked for me. I'm trying to think of a better way to do the calendar invite, or like if you were to do, or if you were to put the name, like put the time, what I just said, the time of appointment, and put like a result in there, and then put please reply yes, please reply why if this is still good with you, or something like that. Just so like because you said that if they reply to you, then you're still getting
Yeah, like it was even
it
if
still worked, right?
yeah, like if I had found like if they hadn't accepted the calendar invite, it was just confirmation in one form or another. Maybe I called them the day before, they said yeah I'll be there, or maybe I text them
Yeah,
one,
yeah.
they've replied yeah I'll be there, and they hadn't done the calendar invite, but they would still show.
Okay. I think the calendar invite works well over email, but it's the texting that I don't like because they're on their phone and they get a text and there's like a Loom link to like watch a video. So they're gonna like click on the Loom link and they're gonna like switch their phone around and then they're gonna watch the video. It's gonna tell them to go. Then they're gonna change it back, find their calendar app. Like it's just like it's not nice. Over email, it's like okay, click on the link, accept the calendar invite. I think over that's fine. Over text, I don't know.
Thinking about
I've
it
never
now,
tested it, so I don't want to like give you the like my. I don't want to give you advice because I've never tested that. But I
yeah.
just the feeling I get is it's not going to be clean. It's not going to be that good.
Thinking about it now, I tried to open a Loom link on my phone that I had sent from myself. Like I had sent it on WhatsApp Business from my laptop. I tried to rewatch the Loom. Maybe it was even your Loom that Ryan sent me when I first booked the call, and I had forwarded it to my business partner. And
Yeah.
when I tried to open it on my phone, it like wouldn't let me. I had to sign in. I had to get into the Loom account that I wanted to watch it on. So now you're mentioning it. Yeah, unless you're on your computer, it just opens. But when I was on my phone, I had to like bat
And
it
then you
out.
got to accept, and like when you do it, like you've got like the accept cookies thing pops up, and you got to click off that. It's like always little things, right? And obviously, just to kind of play devil's advocate here, the reason why we send the Loom over text is because it's not like if someone doesn't watch the Loom, it's like it is kind of a problem, but it's like it's not so deep. They're still going to attend the appointment. Like it's not that deep, that Loom. So it's just like I send it to them over text, so they definitely see it, but. It's more of like, and also what remember with the looms we're sending, it's framed as a custom loom, right? It's like it's more valuable than just, hey, watch this loom to accept a calendar invite. Like, who cares about that? But hey, watch this loom to show you the breakdown of the program. Like hey, I've just filmed you a 10-minute loom, and then when they click on that, like it's a custom, like it's all custom to them, right? So it's like more valuable for them to actually click on rather than just accept the calendar invite. But okay, so you got that text, and then you've got. Scroll
So
down.
then after this, depending on how many days out the appointment is, like if I show you these, so essentially, because like not all the time these are always get sent, the automation isn't still perfect. Like if the caller forgets to do a certain custom value, it can cock up, but they will always get these text messages, which
Okay.
is actually the day of. So the day of is just And this is why I think you might kind of pique interest, because if I'm attaching images, is it landing in an inbox?
Are you using any blue sending here?
No.
I would use, so I can chuck, it's really for
I have
CCM,
no
but
idea
I
how
can
to do
put you
that.
in it. Huh?
Yeah, I have no idea how to do that. I watched a YouTube video and I was like, you can send, because that would even help our clients. Because, like, automatically when you see a green message on an iPhone, you're like,
Also, the biggest thing I can see here is the blue messaging will, all the images come through, all the videos, all the images, they come through as like, do you know what I mean? Like natively,
Mhm.
which is just so much more powerful. It's so much better. And the other thing as well, you can tie, what I would do with the blue messaging, what you can also do is you can tie in like you can make it look like personal. You've already watched the video, right? You can make it look like personal messages are being sent out to you, which is like to them. So you can have all these automated ones, and then you can have the blue number send them a text, even a voice note from you through Go High Level automatically, right? And it all comes through natively. It looks like you picked up your iPhone and just made a fucking voice note. And you can be like, hey, I saw we got our appointment late today. Yeah, just give you a quick intro. My name's Tom. I'll be calling you at this, or don't. I'll just say I'll be calling you at our appointment time. Super excited to speak with you. Blah blah. And it's like you want to try and build the main thing with show rates is that you need to build the social contract between you and the lead, right? So for example, whereabouts are you living right now, Tom?
Currently I'm sat in Wales.
Okay, so if I was visiting Wales and I text you and I was like, hey man, let's go for food, let's go for drinks, whatever else, right? 100% you'd either let me know you're not going to come or you would turn up, right? Like there's no way you're just going to ghost me, like, because there's a social contract between us, because like we know each other and like you're not going to let your friends down. It's kind of weird, right? But with these people, they have no idea who you are, and there's like no social contract between you and them, right?
Mm.
And so the closer you can get to making them feel like a real person's actually waiting for them at the end of the call, they're gonna be more like, they don't want to be a dick. No one wants to be a dick and let people down. It's not like a nice thing. And it's the same thing with, like I said in some of my YouTube videos, like the whole Amazon seller thing, where it's like people return things to Amazon all the time because they see Amazon as a massive corporation. And they think it's not affecting anyone. But actually, in reality, 60% of Amazon sellers are small businesses, and they're like, people just try and make ends meet. And if people knew that, they'd be way less likely to return things, because there's like, that's that social request. It's like, oh, I feel like I'm a bit of a dick for like doing this to this person. It's a real person at the end of this, not just a massive corporation like Amazon. And so you want to try and build that in as much as possible. So with like the humanized text messages and like the blink blue, it looks like a real person, you, is waiting for them and like expecting to speak with them and stuff like that. There's more stuff we can go through, obviously. This all makes sense so far though, like what I'm going through.
Yeah, I've got some next step items. I'll text you kind of what I've put as next steps, and you can
That's cool.
let me know kind of
That's fine, mate.
So I'm missing something, and then if we need another call, we can talk about having another call.
Yeah, cool. There's obviously, but the biggest thing to take away is that the call itself, just building that pain, that's like the biggest takeaway out of all this, making sure that's locked in. All the other stuff is just like little things, but that's the main thing. I hope that all made sense. If you have any questions on how to increase your sharp rate, comment down below. If you want to see more content like this, make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.